Good morning, community, and welcome back to another Keeping It Real with Dr. Anita podcast. I am your host, Dr. Anita Polite Wilson, C-Suite Trusted Advisor, Board Director, and Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Strategy Consultant, helping members of the C-Suite and their teams reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Welcome to Autism Awareness Month, and I am so thrilled to have guests with me on our Real Conversations from the C-Suite, Ms. Debbie Nix, the Chief People Officer at Easterseals Southern California, and Dr. Crystal Leonard. She is a clinical supervisor and assessor with the Easterseals Autism Services. Welcome to you both. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. It's great to be here. We're super excited to continue with this huge conversation of, awareness to acceptance. And so it's just something that we're very passionate about and excited to share in the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ms. Nix, it is good to see you again. I think the last time I saw you, we were at an NHRA conference, right?
In LA.
That's right. In LA, and one here in Orange County not too long ago. I think it was earlier this year. We're in March, April already. I can't believe how the year has gone by, but it's good to see you again.
You too.
So today we're going to talk about the fact, and I love this, that even late awareness is awareness, and that no matter when anyone joins a conversation about autism, your presence is celebrated as your initial steps on the path towards autism awareness. So to get us started on our awareness journey, community, I want to talk about the autism colors, symbols, and their meanings. So I spent a little time researching, and just to make sure I keep the context here, I'm going to read to you for a minute or two. I found out that blue is the primary color because it invokes calmness and serenity, while red is used to draw attention to the cause. Yellow is associated with positivity, optimism, and hope, and the range of colors on the rainbow have often been used to visually represent the range of autism symptoms and individuals with autism abilities and challenges. So, Ms. Nix, my first question is to you. Is there a color that Easterseals Southern California most resonates with? And I look at your beautiful background and all of the different colors, but is there one in particular Easterseals of Southern California really resonates with?
Well, the one that jumps out to me is really at Easterseals, we really want to make sure there's joy and happiness and light. And yellow really jumped out as, it really demonstrates, and as you had mentioned, optimism, hope, and a lot of positivity and joy. So definitely yellow is one that resonates.
Mm-hmm. I know that on the Easterseals Southern California main page, there's a gradation of orange and yellow, and it's just a really welcoming color. It makes me smile when I see it, so I can understand why you would choose yellow. My question for you, Dr. Leonard, is this. When we talk about the symbols of autism, the butterfly autism symbol inspires thoughts of change and symbolizes the beauty of diversity and continued development, while the infinity symbol inspires thoughts of inclusivity for people on the spectrum. So in your work as an assessor, which symbol do you and your clients most resonate with?
You know what? I think I would first say personally, I certainly attach to the symbol of a butterfly. Mm-hmm. Personally, there's always a value attached to and the intention behind transformation and continuing to change and grow and learn. I call myself a forever student because I'm forever learning, whether that's a new recipe, whether that's a person, whether that's diagnostic stuff. It's a process of continuing to change and learn. And so personally, that resonates with me. And I take that, when I'm going into work and I'm working with families, because from the time that you walk in the door and you meet a family to the time that, you start assessing and you get to know your client families, there's change happening right before your eyes. And I think, when we think about a butterfly, it's absolutely amazing to think about the transformation of a butterfly, the amount of food that it takes in, the amount of sessions, right? If we put it that way, The amount of change that happens when nobody sees it, right? Because it's wrapped in a cocoon. When we're in those late sessions and we're there 20 minutes past the end of our session because we're working with that family behind the scenes in that cocoon so that we can come out on the other end of this with a beautiful transformation. And that looks different for everybody, right? That transformation, those wings could simply be that we made it through dinner, right? It could simply be that I did not have to run after my kid, when we were at the mall. And so I think for me personally and professionally, this transformation, the butterfly, that symbol of development continuing, that's something that really, really resonates with me.
I would agree with you. When I finished my dissertation, I remember thinking about the process that I've been through for those 3 years. And the last page of my dissertation referred to a butterfly and the changes that I went through in the cocoon that no one else saw until I came out and spread my wings as Dr. Anita Polite Wilson. And there's so much to what you're saying about conversation and how conversation changes us because it causes us to reflect not only on our experience, but the experience of those that we encounter. So I love the symbol of the butterfly. And although I have been aware of people with autism in my life from a little girl, just kind of watching and observing and not really understanding what was going on, it was a real gift to meet Howard McBroom, who I understand is no longer with us. But I remember encountering him a couple of years ago in an Easterseals webinar, and the topic was about subtle acts of exclusion. And I remember Howard being very clear about the fact that his wheelchair was an extension of who he was, but he did not want people to confuse that wheelchair with his identity in ways that would cause people to exclude him. So I would be honored if you would both take a few minutes and share Howard's legacy and the impact that he had on Easterseals and even on someone like me who had limited access to Howard, but felt his very presence even across the internet.
All right, I'll start off then. Crystal, definitely chime in. So Howard McBroom was a number, of personas with us as an organization. He was a participant with us. He also was an associate of ours, and was one of the most awesome educators just throughout the organization in all the communities. Howard, interesting background. Howard was in his 60s when he passed away in January. He was 68, and he was not diagnosed until 48 as to having autism. And he never could really understand why he was bullied, why he was different, until he got a diagnosis that gave him a why or some answers. But that didn't stop him. That kind of turned the way of living as to being more of an advocate and being included and wanting to be part of, being self-responsible and being part of a community. He has been on a number of boards and definitely was a huge advocate. And the one takeaway I personally had with Howard is one thing that he wanted to leave a legacy is, let's not forget how we can best educate young students and young children on how to be acceptance or how to accept others as they are, so that there is not the bullying through the school. So that was one thing that, definitely touched my heart.
Mm-hmm. I can really resonate with that because, again, I mentioned that there was a young man at my church who was autistic. I didn't understand what that meant, but my spirit was naturally protective of him. And I kept an eye out for him. And then when I went to another church, a girlfriend of mine, her son was autistic. And I was able to understand a little bit more, but not being in that world, it's very, very different. And so, Dr. Leonard, what are some of the memories that you have about Howard and the impact that he had there at Easterseals and with your clients?
I was fortunate enough to experience Howard and all of his passion through one of our monthly idea chats. Our idea team is our inclusion, diversity, equity, and access team. And the topic for that month was person-centered planning. And so we had these BCBAs come in. We've got our clinical supervisors and different leaders from different areas and departments and service lines coming in, And we made the announcement that Howard McBroom was going to be speaking, and he's an advocate. And it's very interesting. We don't require cameras for that monthly idea chat. We want people to feel comfortable and come in and not the pressure of cameras. And when Howard started talking, all you saw is those boxes like light up where cameras started to come on, and people couldn't help but to really just lock in. And what just came off of the screen was the passion. He was a really big advocate. And the interesting thing you said, Dr. Anita, earlier was, this wheelchair is an extension. And what was very clear, was that I am a person, right? And I have a voice. And I have thoughts about these things, right? And I'm going to share them. And that is something that we all felt, and we were just greatly appreciative of, because it gave us something as clinicians to take with us from the voice of the individual that we're serving. And our person-centered planning team, that is the mission. That's the goal, to be able to include the people that we're serving in what we're doing. It's not our own agenda, right? It's not what we think is best. It's what's going to benefit them. And it was great to have, Howard come in and share that. He shared the most amazing short films and clips with us. And to see his reaction to it, it's sometimes you kind of put people in, and you're careful with things if there's a diagnosis attached to any part of their being. But it was just amazing to just sit there and experience it with him, and really just feel his passion. And that, I think, passion, if I had a picture in the dictionary next to that word, it would certainly be Howard McBroom. And I'm just super, super grateful to have experienced that.
I would agree with everything that you just said. Howard was definitely passionate. He was delightful. And Howard has left a light in this world. Howard, thank you.
What would you want the world to know about people with disabilities?
That they are human beings like everyone else, with the same desire and need that everyone else has, and that they deserve to be treated like human beings and given an equal chance.
With our individuals, I feel like they get motivated just hearing Howard speak. I think it motivates other individuals to use their voice. They feel empowered to do so because Howard is doing it.
Adults have choices. Adults are able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it. And they have a right to live their own life the way they want to live them. We all do.
In the 5 years that I worked with Howard, I just want everyone to know that he is so passionate about everything he does. And he puts his heart into everything. He's taught me so much in my professional career that I'm not sure I can ever repay him back for it, because advocacy, public speaking, he's taught me so much.
I'm no mathematician, but I do think I can claim to be a good public speaker. So I'm good at public speaking and bad at math. But we're all good at something. And we should all have a chance to participate in society and be included in it.
Wow, community, I'm just beside myself. Had you met Howard, you would understand how we feel about him. In our second conversation with Ms. Nix and Dr. Leonard, what we're going to be talking about is the healthcare disparity amongst African American and underserved communities. I know that Howard would have had a voice in this, and so we're going to continue the dialogue in memory and in Howard's honor. So please come back for our next conversation. In the meantime, if you want to hear this podcast again or any of my previous podcasts, you know where to go. The website, dranita.com. Remember to spell out the word doctor, and on the landing page at the top, click on the link that says Keeping It Real Podcast. And please do me a favor, help me get in the flow by following, liking, and oversharing any podcast, it helps you reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Until next time, this is Dr. Anita reminding you to stay blessed and keep it real.